Our guest speaker this morning is the Vice President, Branch Manager, and Small Business and Retail Development Manager for Premier Bank. He holds a Bachelor's of Science degree in Management from West Virginia Wesleyan College, an MBA from Shepherd University. Plays an active role in many community organizations and is a very strong supporter of the Mountaineer Boys State. I'd like to welcome to the podium Michael Malfrageau.
I was telling Chris when we sat down, it's about once a year I get to enjoy breakfast sausage on a stick. My wife doesn't buy that at home, so it's a treat once in a while. I like that. So right now, this room right here, this room is filled with truly, and I'm sure many speakers have told you this already this week, the top tier incoming seniors for the state of West Virginia. You all excel in academics, athletics, music, art, community service. Your test scores in some cases are wildly over the moon. It's an honor and pleasure for me to be here today to speak with you all. Truly, you all have a very, very bright future, each and every one of you, so I'm very happy to be here today. A little bit about me. I'm a West Virginia guy, born and raised in Clarksburg. Have a wife, two great little boys. They're both going to attend St. Mary's grade school next year. And I was sitting here talking to some of the Boys State members and some of the administrators, and we busted out a calculator and did some calculations. Literally 20 years ago this week, I was at Boys State. So back in '97, I was a Boys State member just like you all, and honestly and truly, the last 20 years of my life have been an absolute, just so fast, it's unbelievable. So enjoy this time that you have this week, and hopefully your endeavors going forward will be very successful. One of the things that I didn't know when I attended Boys State 20 years ago, it was cool, I got nominated, somebody sponsored me, they paid for me to come. I enjoyed the week, I didn't know what to expect. I don't know if I made the most of it or not. I had a good time, but it wasn't until after, the week was over, I went back, it was summer, enjoyed my senior year. Again, I had memories of Boys State. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I didn't think about it every day. But it wasn't until I hit college and beyond that I realized the impact that Boys State had on me. Between the 400 plus students in this room and the thousands and thousands of Boys State members that have gone through the 80-year history of Mountaineer Boys State, you have an automatic connection with each and every one of them. When you go to whatever you do after high school, whether you go military, whether you go right in the workforce, whether you go to college, you're going to meet people that went to Boys State. Automatic connection. I guarantee for some of you, when you sit down at an interview for a job, and that interviewer is looking at your resume, and they're like, and then they look again, and they say, wow, James, you went to Boys State. And you say, yes, sir. And then the interviewer says, I went to Boys State too. Instant connection. I guarantee it's going to have a positive impact in your future. So I've been in banking for 15 years. I'm definitely now, I consider myself a lifetime banker. It's what I do. It's what I like. It's what I enjoy. Like Chris said, I work with Premier Bank now in Bridgeport, out at White Oaks near the hospital. It's a West Virginia-based bank, headquartered in Huntington. I'm sure we got some Huntington guys in here, some Cabell County guys. Go Herd. But we're also in 25, we have 25 branches in about 14 other counties all across the state. It's West Virginia-based, headquartered. We care about the state of West Virginia, so I'm proud to be here today. So I'm in banking, so I like numbers, right? I'm not a numbers brainiac. I'm more of a people person. I like developing relationships. So, but I like economics. And generally speaking, economically, more of something is preferred to less of something, okay? Especially if it's something that has value. So James, I'll pick on you because I can see your name tag, so it's perfect. If I said, James, no strings attached, I'm going to give you $20 or I'm going to give you $40. What are you going to take? $40. James is going to take $40. Is there anyone in here that wouldn't take the 40 over the 20? Somebody raised their hand because they didn't understand my question. Okay, everyone would take the $40 if there's no strings attached, especially if you don't have to pay it back, okay? So conversely, let's say that I sold a product. Doesn't matter what the product is. And James came to me and said, hey, I want to buy your product. And I said, okay, James, would you rather pay $20 or would you rather pay $40? I'll give you the choice. You get to buy the product for the price that you want. What would you choose? James would choose to buy for 20 instead of 40, just like everybody else in here would. Again, it's common sense, right? So why am I here today? I'm going to start with that. Think of that example as I keep talking here. And again, I've got about probably 7 minutes left or so. I'm sure they'll turn my mic off when it's time for me to stop. So I'm here today, obviously on behalf of the banking world, but to talk specifically about what credit is. Credit history, credit scores. It's a bland topic. It's not exciting, but it's important. And what it is, which I'm going to describe in as much detail as I can in this short amount of time, is that credit is nothing more than a game. It is truly a game. It's a real game, but you have direct impact on the game. So back in time, okay, so we're at we're at Jackson's Mill, which is where Stonewall Jackson grew up. He was born in what town, by the way? Clarksburg, that's right. So Stonewall Jackson, he spent most of his life here growing up. Back in Stonewall Jackson's day, when he needed a loan, he went to the bank. Did the bank pull his credit history? Did he have to go online to find his credit score at Free Credit Report or annualcreditreport.com? No. He didn't do that. So what Stonewall Jackson had to do, like everybody else in his time, was go to the bank. His credit was his word. His credit was his personal character. That's how it worked. So let's say that somebody didn't like Stonewall Jackson at the bank. If they didn't like him, then they could discriminate against him, not give him a loan. So you fast forward now to 2017, and really the handshake type deals and loans were in place for a long time. It was probably not maybe 25, 30 years ago when really credit history started to truly develop and evolve. Now it's complicated to get a loan because it's all based on the black and white statistical data and what that numerical value of your own credit score is. So truly it's a game. So I want to ask a question. I know there's a lot of sports guys, athletes in here in high school. How many of you play sports in high school? Okay, a couple of you it looks like, yeah, most of the room. How about football? Good, we got one right here. What's your name, Wayman? Wayman, all right. Wayman, where are you from? All right, I got Wayman over here. He's from Webster County. Welcome, Wayman. I got a couple questions for you. So you play football. How long you played football, approximately?
All my life.
All my life. So you're 17.
Yes.
So he's played most of his life. So at some point in time, you learned how to play football, whether it was your dad or a coach or a legal guardian. Somebody sat you down over the years and taught you little tricks and hints and stances and conditioned, and you know it, right? You played your whole life. So it's part of your world. What if Wayman didn't know the rules of football, and he's 17 years old, and he signs up for the team, and he goes out, and the coach says, Wayman, put on your pads, and you're like, I don't know how to here, let me put them on for you. The coach puts on your pads, puts on your shirt, puts on your helmet, says, get out there, boy. What's going to happen to you? He laughed, he said, I'm going to get hurt. Right, because you don't know the rules, right? You've been conditioned over 17 years. You know every darn rule just about that there is, at least for high school football, because you live it, you eat it, you breathe it. Football is a game. So in that game of football, Wayman, he impacts the outcome, but he can't control the outcome of that football game. His behavior is on the field, his teammates' behavior is what he does well, what he does poorly. It all impacts it, right? But you can't directly control if you win the game. You impact it. Okay? That's where the game of credit's different. In the game of credit, you directly impact, you alone, what your credit score is at the end of the day. You alone. So unlike the team game like football, or like any sport, where there's rules, and the more you know the rules, the better it is that you can impact it. If Webster had a team full of people like Wayman who never played football before, and it was their first year, boy, they're going to have a hell of a season. It's going to be rough on them. That's what happens when you start getting credit and you don't know the game of credit. I can't teach you the whole game of credit in 8 to 12 minutes up here today, but what I hope one takeaway is that fundamentally, when you start to get credit, there's two major principles you want to do. Whatever you get, whether it's student loans, whether it's unsecured loans, car loans, house loans, whatever, pay the bill on time. You don't have to pay it off early. Ideally, that's best for your long term, but to play the credit game, you want to pay things on time and not overextend yourself on the credit that you have. So for example, that would mean like a credit card. So if James had a credit card, I'm going to pick on James again because I can see his name tag and he's looking at me. He's making eye contact, which is good. James gets a credit card, and let's say his limit's $5,000, and immediately James puts $5,000 on his credit card and keeps it at $5,000, keeps it at $5,000, never pays it down. It's actually going to hurt his credit. And if he makes a late payment, boom, that's like an immediate short-term credit killer. You'll see your credit drop drastically. So 2 points, if you'll take anything away, pay your bills on time and don't overextend yourself, because there's going to be a lot of lenders that want to give you money, because they can qualify you. Most lenders and banks want to give you money because banks make money off of you. Those credit card companies make money off of you if they can get you to sign on the dotted line. They're not always doing in your best interest. So just because you can get approved for something doesn't mean that you should necessarily have it. So down and dirty, that's how credit works. It is truly a game, and only you impact it. No one else does. It doesn't matter how Waylon plays in the football field. It doesn't impact your credit score. It doesn't matter how Corey at the bank, I'm friends with Corey. Corey's life doesn't impact my credit score. It just doesn't matter. I'm in complete control. So why do we care? How much time do I have? Okay. So why do we care, though? Yeah, we want our credit history to be good. Why? Because people tell us we want it to be good? Well, that's true. But why do we actually care? Any ideas? Hey.
You need credit to buy a house.
You do need credit to buy a house. That is correct. That's a good point. You need credit to buy a house. But, and I don't want to play devil's advocate, but I'm going to because I got the mic. You can buy a house with bad credit, too. Yes?
With better credit, you can get cheaper payments on cars.
Okay. And you can fill in the blank there, not just cars. Timothy, where are you from?
Philip Arbor.
Philip Arbor, great. We got a branch in Philippi. Just before the record, just want to tell you that. So Timothy says his answer was that you can get cheaper rates when you buy cars, but it's cheaper rates on anything. There is a correlation, meaning the higher your credit, the lower your interest rate is going to be on whatever it is that you want to buy, whether it's a house, car, boat, whatever. And the lower your credit score, the higher your interest is going to be. So again, back to the money example. You're in control of buying that product from me in that example. If I say, hey, James, you want to pay me 20 or you want to pay me 40? Your choice. You pay me 20. You're in complete control of your credit history based on your actions and your behavior. So if you want to pay 10% for a car, then you can, because your credit's going to dictate that. But if you want to compete for the best rates, 0%, 1.9, 0.9, you're going to get that. If you want to buy that house, like this gentleman said, I can't see his name tag. Maybe it says Ryan, I can't tell. Ryan? Excellent. Ryan wants to buy a house. He says, hey, you got to have good credit to buy a house. You do. If you want to get a 3.5, 3.9, 4% mortgage for 30 years, you want good credit. If you got bad credit, you're probably looking 6, 7, 8% or more. And over 30 years, oh my goodness, you're talking about tens of thousands of dollars down the tube. That's why it's important. So again, you're in complete control of your credit. No matter what you do, it doesn't matter what others do. It's truly all about you. Sitting here talking with a couple of the Boy State guys, Angelo, your new governor. Hey, here's Angelo. Wave, Angelo. You guys like Angelo, right? Or at least those of you that voted for Angelo like him, right? So I was talking to Angelo, and I said, Angelo, what do you want me to talk about? And he said, oh, I'm not going to tell you what he really said. He said, he said, talk about interest, talk about this, talk about that. So since Angelo represented you guys, I was interested to hear what his feedback was. And I was glad to know that he was thinking along those lines. He realized that it was important. I think he's a good representation of the population here at Boise State this week. I'm going to be volunteering at the bank with Corey and the rest of the... where's the bank staff? Where are you guys at? Oh, you're scattered around. I'm going to see you guys pretty much all day today and most of the day tomorrow. I'm going to be around at the bank. If anyone has any questions about any bank-related topic, especially credit-wise, I'll sit down and talk for as long as anyone has time for. I'd love to talk to each and every one of you if we had time. And one last thing I'll say. The bank is having a special today, and I mean Boise State Bank, not the bank that pays me money, but Boise State Bank is having a special starting at 9 a.m. They've got free giveaways to, I think, at least the first 25 or 30 Boise State residents that come to the bank. Ryan's pumped up about free stuff. People love free bank stuff, so we got free Boise State Bank stuff for you starting at about 9 o'clock. So. All right, so I think I've probably exceeded my time. I don't have time for questions, although I wish I did. If you have questions, stop at the bank today. Like I said, I'll be there almost the whole entire day. I'll be honest, I'll be real, I don't sugarcoat things, I'll give it to you straight up. So thank you all for having me. It's my pleasure and honor, and hopefully talk to you guys soon.